Everybody here? Yeah? Hiding back there? Are you here? Yeah, you're here, okay, I can't see you. All right, you guys ready to go through this last chapter? Be glad it's all over, right? Don't worry, there's always something new coming. Right? How you feeling back there? Getting better?
Nah, I got
No?
worse. I don't know how it got worse.
You said you were born with it, or you got hit? You were born with it, or you got hit?
I was bloated.
You know, the migraines?
It was like, my dad get them, so I got it from my dad.
Yikes.
Cause I remember someone told me the story that someone was holding the hood for him. He was working on a car, and then the guy who was holding the hood got tired. He got a stick and put it on the thing, and then he walked away, and it was windy, so it blew, and it went boom. Hit the thing, the latch that latches on, hit his head,
Really?
and then he got a concussion. After that, he started getting migraines a lot. He said, "No, it's annoying."
Really?
And after that, I was
You didn't have a hood fall on your head?
thinking something like that.
I've been getting them like consistently since I was like 6 years old.
Wow.
Is it like medicine won't even help you? Like you can take an ibuprofen wouldn't help?
Nah, like, I used to go to a neurologist, but my neurologist retired, and I haven't found one since.
Okay.
I still have like medicine that's prescribed to me like previous years.
Okay. You don't have
Was
any-
it working?
It works for the most part, but some days are
Hmm.
worse than others.
I feel you.
Well, can't help you with that. All right, let's see what we can figure out in this last chapter here.
This long ass chapter.
It won't be that bad, come on. Don't make it worse than it is.
It is worse than it
Pre-alignment checks. Things you should do before you do the alignment. Okay? Diagnosis of some of the things we talked about, lead, memory, steer, torque steer, alignment specs, setup, how to measure all of the adjustments we talked about. Caster camber, SI toe, toe out of turn. How to perform a pre-alignment inspection, list the types of alignments, how to adjust some of them. And again, the machines are pretty high-tech these days. They'll tell you exactly what needs to be changed, what or adjusted, which way to turn it, what size tool, what tools you need, where the adjusters are located, pretty much everything. So makes it a lot easier than again than it always looks. It's trying to watch it and teach it. So it's not all that complicated. All right. Lining electronic suspension and modified vehicles. Electronic suspension just means normally after you do alignment, you will have to reset some of the specs on it with the scan tool. It's only takes a couple minutes to do it, not a big deal. Sometimes you'll have to recenter the steering position sensor, recalibrate that to true straight ahead and stuff like that. But again, not a big deal. Like I said, reset steering angle sensor. Done with the scan tool, takes a few minutes. Upper wheel alignment of all four wheels is important for safe handling of any vehicle, except if it has a solid rear axle. There is no rear alignment. The only thing you could check would be the thrust angle, and that would be maybe if for some reason the rear end housing was out of alignment. Okay, would change the thrust angle, but there's no alignment specifications or adjustments on a car with a solid rear axle. Okay. Tire life and fuel economy are maximized, handling is predictable and sure. Fourth basic steps in correcting any problem. What do you always do? Verify there is a problem. Visual inspection, which they don't list here, but that's always part of it. Isolate the problem, repair, recheck, make sure you fixed it. The owner of this Honda bought it and thought he all it needed was alignment. Obviously, something more serious than that caused that left rear wheel to angle inward at the top, which is called what? What would you call that alignment angle?
Negative camber.
That has got some serious negative camber to it, right? Something actually broke. That's obviously not something that the customer did or it was just, not just, something that normally happened. Okay. Alignment replaced at the same time, I don't think we have to worry about that, or that. Checks, before you do alignment, you should make sure that all the tires are properly inflated. A lot of the machines have tire, pressure hoses on them. You can just hook them up to the tires, and the machine will inflate the tires for you to the proper pressure. Because if one of the tires is low, the car's gonna set a little bit of an angle. It's gonna mess things up, okay? So it's important to make sure the tires have the right air pressure before you do the alignment. Make sure none of the wheel bearings are loose or messed up, which would cause the wheel to wiggle, right? Obviously, you can't do alignment if something is worn out. Vehicle ride height should be about right. Normally, you don't have to really mess with that too much, but you can take a tape measure and measure it all four corners from the ground to the top of the wheel well. But again, even if a car's sitting perfect and there's nothing wrong with it, you're not gonna get the same, measurement side to side, front to back. They're just not perfect. Any type of looseness in the steering component should be corrected before you do alignment. It's gonna tell you that sometimes dragging brakes are found doing a pre-alignment check, or doing an alignment. But I seriously doubt you're gonna find a car with dragging brakes. It's very, very unusual to see that. This is a tire wear chart. Tells you approximately what the tire is gonna look like for certain problems. And that probably is on this page too, right? So, okay. So you can look at that as well, but. Measuring points, they call that trim height, is what they call that, okay? And again, this is not something you normally have to do. If the car looks like it hasn't been messed with or crashed or anything like that, and all the tires got the right pressure in them, you're not gonna have to worry about measuring it all four corners, make sure the trim height is right, like this. You're not gonna have to do that. The purpose of the pre-alignment check is to find and correct any problems prior to the alignment, okay? You don't want to align a car that's got worn out suspension parts or something's wrong with it because you're wasting your time. You gotta correct the problem first, okay? If it's got any worn out parts, do those first, alignment's always last, okay? I got a guy's car in my house right now. He spent a lot of money on suspension parts, brakes, all this stuff. Car doesn't run right, doesn't stop right, doesn't steer right. One of the things it does is the steering is kind of hard to kind of binds, and when you let go of the steering wheel, it doesn't try to return, it just sticks where it is. Not supposed to do that, right? So the first thing I asked him is, do you have an alignment performed after you did all this suspension work? And he said, no. I said, okay, well, that might be the only thing that's wrong with it. Because if the caster is off on it, it can cause its steering wheel to not want to return and then stick where it is. So that might be the only thing that's wrong with the steering part of it. So it's important to correct any problems before you do it and make sure that you do it after to replace any parts, okay?
How many cars do you have at your house right now?
At one given time, at least 3. Yeah, let's see, right now there's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Because you got a car that matches the subject we going over every week.
I know, I do, huh?
Sounds like you got 10 of them.
Yeah.
Lined up.
On the average, probably 3 at all times. Not to mention mine, so which makes 5. Okay, before aligning the vehicle, verify the customer complaint first, if they are complaining about it. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're just doing the alignment because you replaced the part, or maybe the customer was complaining that it didn't feel like it was driving straight, the steering wheel's off center, whatever, okay? Check for memory steer condition. That is just basically the steering wheel staying where you turn it instead of wanting to return. And the steering wheel is naturally going to want to return to center when you let go of the steering wheel, okay? Lead or pull problems during acceleration and deceleration. Check for torque steer condition. That would typically be. The bulge in this tire was not noticed until it was removed from the vehicle. How is that possible? How could you not notice that?
It's on the inside, maybe?
I think that's funny. Okay,
You must be driving on bumpy road.
yeah, right? Memory steer is a term used to describe the lead or pull of the vehicle caused by faults in the steering or suspension system. Correction, finding suspension or steering components is the most likely cause of memory steer. Torque steer, what is that?
Occurs in front wheel drive vehicles when engine torque causes a front wheel to change its angle from straight ahead.
Okay. Correction, confirm this on normal condition. A little bit of torque steer in certain cars is pretty much normal. Defective engine mount can cause the powertrain not to be level. Make sure your alignment angles are right. Either outer CV joint angles produce equals torque steer or toe in. One side receives more engine torque, that side creates more toe in. As a result, you'll get a pull toward one side, especially during acceleration. Broken or defective engine or transaxle mounts can cause a powertrain to sag, causing unequal drive axle shaft CV joint angles, as you see in the picture here. Stronger right wheel steer will torque steer. Alignment specifications. Before attempting an alignment, consider the following. Determine the correct specification for the exact vehicle being checked. You don't have to do that. A lot of times on these new machines, you can just scan the barcode for the VIN number, right? And it'll tell you what car you're working on. You don't have to tell it anything, okay? Make sure the vehicle's properly loaded. What does that mean?
All the weight is down, so it's like off
Okay.
of the jack, like on the ground.
Okay. Reading the specs, maximum, minimum, preferred method, plus or minus. Specifications are always gonna give you a window, okay? It's not gonna be exact. Sometimes they are measured in degrees, minutes, and fractions. This alignment chart provides the preferred settings with a plus or minus tolerance. So, if you look at this, obviously there's no adjustment for rear caster. That's why there's nothing here. Your front should be positive 3 degrees plus or minus a half a degree, which means it can be 3.5 or 2.5, right? Anywhere in there. Camber, same thing, 0.3 degrees plus or minus 0.5. Toe, all that stuff. There's always gonna be a plus or minus there, okay? They want the total toe in at 0. But it can be plus or minus 0.3 degrees. And the little green arrow on the graph on your alignment machine, it gives you that window, anywhere in the green. It doesn't have to be dead center. Okay, you're doing alignment and you get all of the alignment angles in the green on the screen, it's good enough, okay? Typical alignment procedures include the following. Putting the car on the alignment rack straight and center the ramps under the vehicle, shock the wheels. Attach and calibrate the wheel speed sensors, or the wheel sensors to each wheel. Unlock the rack, the turn plates. If you've seen the alignment done, you know that they'll put the front wheels on the turn plates, and then they'll unlock them, they'll pull the pins out of them so the wheels can turn to do the caster sweep on it. But again, the machine will tell you step by step what to do, okay? It literally tells you, it almost does it for you. Some machines will have hydraulic jacks under them so you can lift up the wheels to turn them. Sometimes those, you have to do a rolling compensation. You put the wheel sensors on there. That's what they call the compensation process. Most of them look like that. You've probably seen those before, right? Those optical sensors that attach to the tires. They have different arms for different lengths, for obviously for different size or diameter tires.
Quick question, Ron. We don't need to know the degrees, minutes, and fractions or any of that?
We'll need to know a little bit of that, but we'll get to it.
Okay, because I'm already confused on that.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Measuring your caster, camber, SAI, toe out on turns, okay? Camber, measured with the wheels in the straight ahead position on a level platform. Caster is moving the front wheels through an arc inward and outward from straight ahead. That is your caster sweep. That's what the turn plates allow the car to do while it's sitting on the alignment rack. Your SAI is also measured during the performance of the caster sweep, front wheels only. Toe is determined by measuring the angle of both front and rear wheels from straight ahead or the 0 degree position, and then your toe out on turns is a diagnostic angle, not normally measured as part of a regular alignment, but it's recommended to be performed as part of a total alignment check. So remember that when you see that on a test question, the toe out on turns is typically a diagnostic angle, not normally measured. I'm sorry, what's that?
What was the last thing you said?
I said that the tote or the toe out on turns is a diagnostic angle, not normally measured as part of a regular alignment. Okay? The toe for an oversized tire is set by distance. Toe angle be too small. Toe angle is the same regardless of tire size. They don't use those protractor scales anymore, so I don't worry about that. Specification versus alignment readings. Secure both the alignment specs from the manufacturer and the alignment readings, compare the two. Again, the machine does that for you. It will know exactly what the manufacturer specifies for alignment specifications when you put in the vehicle you're working on, okay? You don't have to look anything up. Before starting the alignment, check the SAI, included angle, setback, toe out on turns, all that. Make sure there's no hidden damage, such as bent spindle, something like that. Part of your pre-alignment inspection. If you don't suspect there's anything wrong with the car, hasn't been in an accident, or just didn't come from the body shop or something like that, that stuff's probably gonna be just fine. Before attempting to correct an alignment, check the angles, make sure the appropriate diagnostic chart, check for hidden damage, all part of a visual inspection. Understand the terms used in the chart. At spec means the alignment angle is within specifications. Over specification means the alignment angle is greater or higher. Under spec means it's less or lower. That should be self-explanatory. By checking the SAI camera and included angle of damage suspension quantity can be determined by using this chart, which I believe you have in the book as well. Yep, it's almost a whole page on, what, 1546? Okay, we talked about this in the last chapter. Most front-wheel drive cars have the engine and the trans axle and the low suspension arms and a subframe connected to the cradle. If the frame shifted to the right or left, this causes differences in your setback, your SAI, included angle, camber, all that stuff, which we talked about a minute ago. In this example, both the SAI and camber are far from being equal side to side. However, both sides have the same included angle, indicating the frame may be out of alignment. In which case you would just loosen the bolts on the subframe, there's usually just 4 of them, and you would just shift it to correct that while it's on the alignment rack, okay? Most of the time you won't have to do that, it's just a possibility. This is the same vehicle after the angle has been corrected. You can see the SAI and the camber become equal without any other adjustments necessary. Don't have to worry about the geometric center line, don't use that anymore. Thrust line we talked about is the alignment of the thrust angle of the rear wheels and sets the front wheels parallel to the front line, or the parallel to the thrust line. Four-wheel alignment is the most common and the most accurate. Again, if you have a solid rear axle vehicle, it's only going to get a two-wheel alignment, okay? If it has independent rear suspension, it's going to get a four-wheel alignment. You start in the back, do the back first, then the front, okay? Rear toe and camber first, and then you go to the front, okay?
Question.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I have a question.
Okay,
Now you say you start in the back.
I'm sorry.
You know you say you start in the back and then the front.
You always start the alignment in the back, if you're gonna do a four-wheel alignment. If you're just doing the front, obviously you don't have to worry about that,
I
but
was asking like, is it like, is there any other time you do it, just do the front?
yeah, yeah. You're always gonna hook it up to do a four-wheel alignment, but most of the time, the rear is gonna be okay. But if it's out, let's say you put it on the machine, okay? You got all the wheel sensors on it, the optical sensors. It's all set up on the alignment rack and you're ready to do it. And you're looking at the screen and your rear specifications are okay, they're in the green. Most of the time they will be. Then you're just gonna do the front, if it's off. Sometimes you put a car on the alignment rack and it's perfect. You don't do anything to it, okay? But if it's off in the back, you're gonna do the back first and then the front, okay?
For the only time they put it on the alignment and it's perfect if you're doing like a suspension work or something, or like, when would you need to put a car on alignment and then as soon as you put it on it's perfect? Like, what would be the reason? Like if the customer requesting it?
Possibly, yeah.
Or you just.
Yeah. Or maybe the customer felt like, well, let's say they just bought tires. Sometimes people do that. I just bought 4 new tires. I want to make sure that they don't wear out prematurely or whatever. So let's take it somewhere and have the alignment checked. Sometimes they'll do that just to make sure it's okay. I've done that many times. Put a car on the alignment rack, set it, get it all set up. Then it doesn't need anything. The adjustments are just fine on it. Okay? It happens. But normally, if you replace a component or something like that, it's possible that you could put it on the alignment rack and hey, it's perfect. I don't need to do anything. Still gotta check it, because you just don't know. You can't tell by looking at it. Okay, sample inspection readings. Caster, camber, toe, left, right. As you can see, they want 1/2 degree positive camber, but they also give you a tolerance of 1/2 degree, which means it could be 0 or it could be -1/2, right? Any of that would work. Caster, positive 1 degree, plus or minus 1/2. Total toe, 1/8 inch, plus or minus 1/16, which is 1/2 of an eighth, right? So, let's look at your alignment specifications. This is what they want. This is what it says. This is your actual reading. Camber, positive 1/2 degree, plus or minus 1/2. It's reading plus 1/4. Is that okay? Yes or no?
No.
Is that left camber reading okay? Would you have to adjust that, or is it okay?
Yes, adjusted.
No, that's perfect. Right.
Who said it's perfect? You did?
I was lying.
Huh?
I was lying.
You were lying? No, you weren't. There's nothing wrong with it.
Really?
Okay. This is the specification. This is what manufacturer says it should be.
It would be in the green, right?
Well, I remember-
Positive 1/2 degree,
Mm-hmm.
but they allow you plus or minus 1/2. Right?
Yeah.
So it equals
So if it
itself
was
out.
positive 1/4,
Can't see.
would that be within spec?
Yeah,
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. You wouldn't have to touch it.
Wasn't that, isn't that
a
special?
quarter is less than half, so yeah, that would be in spec.
Yeah.
It was like, I think I saw it on the test question we just did, or another sheet,
You saw it on a what?
in the practice test.
Oh, you did?
I think so.
Okay. Let's look at the right camber reading on the right front tire. It's supposed to be plus 1/2 degree, plus or minus 1/2. Same thing, right? It's reading 0. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it okay? Anybody say it's not okay? If it's supposed to be 1/2 and you can be plus or minus 1/2, 0 is still okay, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? That's what I mean by it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be within the spec. There's always gonna be a plus or minus.
As long as it's not outside of the half.
Yeah, right, because chances of getting something perfect are pretty slim. They give you a little bit of wiggle room there.
So if it were a quarter, it'd be fine?
Yeah. Okay, your caster. What do they want? They want the same on both sides, right? They want 1 degree of positive caster, but they allow you 1/2 degree either way, plus or minus. That's why it says plus or minus here. The actual caster reading on the left is plus 1 degree. Is that okay?
Yes.
It's right on the money, isn't it?
Yeah.
On the right side, it's 1 1/4.
That's fine.
Yeah.
They're allowing you 1 1/2, aren't they?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that either. Okay, your total toe, they want an 1/8 inch, plus or minus a 1/16. It's measuring an 1/8.
Yeah, that's good.
Right on the money, right? Nothing to worry about. Okay. Spec and actual. Is it good or is it bad? Tell me what's good and what's bad.
Front caster is bad. On the left side. Oh, never mind, never mind.
No, it's
The bottom
okay.
one- The bottom one.
I was looking at the
left,
wrong thing.
That's a negative,
Where?
that's not good.
On
The front camera,
the right?
yeah, the left, and the right.
Both, the left and the
Both
right.
of them are both, they're supposed to be positive, right?
Okay, your rear camber, it asks for the same right and left, right? They want it at 0, but they give you a 1/4 inch of wiggle room. Okay?
That's all right. That one-
Your rear camber is at 0 and positive 1/4. Is there anything wrong with that?
No.
Nope. What do they want for toe? 0, plus or minus a 1/16. The toe is 1 1/2 degrees.
That's fine.
Is the rear toe good or not?
No.
No good, right? Gotta be
You said
adjusted,
that,
right?
That
Okay,
would be around.
okay.
You said the actual reading camber is good?
I'm sorry?
You said the actual, reading camber is good? The front-
Yeah, yeah. Everything's good except for the rear toe. Look what they want. They want 0. They're only allowing you a 1/16 either way. This has got 1 1/2 degrees. That's not gonna work.
Oh, so the left one is telling you the heat.
Bottom.
The bottom one's telling you what it actually is. The top one is telling you what they want. This is what the manufacturer recommends. These are the specifications for this car. This is what it's actually reading when they put it on the
So it
machine.
don't gotta be positive?
I'm sorry?
Does it have to be positive?
I don't know what you mean.
Does it have to be positive?
They don't have to be in the positive numbers.
Does it have to be? No. It just has to be within this, whatever specification they ask for. So look at the rear toe. They want it at 0, plus or minus a 16th. So could it be negative a 16th and still be good? Yeah.
That's what I feel like that's what they're confused on the front camber, because at the top it says plus or minus half, or there it just says minus the half, negative half. So I'm thinking that's what they're confused on, because it's not plus or minus. Because I was looking at that for a second too, but up there it says plus or minus half.
Our right front caster is off, isn't it?
So I was right.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't see that. Okay, your right front caster, they want a half a degree, plus or minus a half. So it can be 0, or it can be 1.5.
Yeah.
It's 2. Okay, so I missed that. Yeah, that's off too, right? So that right front caster would have to be adjusted, right? So there's 2 things that are off there.
So that basically means the whole alignment's off and you have to redo it. For the most part.
Yeah.
Toe,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
You
the
just have to redo the
caster.
whole alignment.
So.
Because I got the front caster and rear toe.
So let's say you put a car on the machine, this is what the machine said it was supposed to be, this is what it was reading. What are you gonna do first?
The rear toe.
Adjust the rear toe, right? You're gonna fix this first, and then this. Okay?
Does that depend on if it's a front wheel, all wheel, or rear wheel drive, or is it just?
The only
all
time you
wheels?
wouldn't do the rear first is if it had a solid rear axle, there's no adjustments.
Gotcha.
Anything else, you're gonna do the rear first.
Gotcha.
All right, we don't have to worry about the geometric center line. I don't think they're gonna ask you anything about that. Let's see. Sets the front tune based on geometric center line. The vehicle is not considered thrust angle. Okay. Thrust alignment sets the front toe parallel with the rear toe. Remember, your thrust angle is always gonna be measured from the back. Okay, four-wheel alignment corrects for any rear toe to make sure the thrust line and geometric center line of the vehicle are both the same, which is one of the reasons you do that first. Three types of alignments. Okay. They're gonna go through some processor procedures to do some camber adjustments, and again, it's not the same on every car, okay? The alignment machine will tell you where the adjustments are and what tools you need, okay? This is just a basic, certain particular cars do. Adjusting the rear camber is the first step in a four-wheel alignment process, okay? Another thing you need to remember. Rear camber is rarely made adjustable. If the manufacturer doesn't specify any rear camber adjustments, then you go right to the rear toe adjustment, okay?
What do they mean by do not attempt to correct the pool condition by increasing cross camber or cross caster beyond the amount specified by the vehicle? So are they saying that if it's pulling too far to the right or the left, don't try to?
Don't over adjust it past the specifications to kind of correct it, because you got something else wrong.
Just making sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, sometimes that's all you have to do to adjust a rear camber, is just rotate an eccentric cam.
How do you rotate that?
Just with a wrench, you just turn it, and it moves this arm one way or the other because it's
Oh.
on eccentric,
Okay.
right? Watching the display on the machine as you turn it, as soon as it gets into the green, you're good to go. Some vehicles will use a threaded fastener, similar to a tie rod, to adjust the rear camber. So, there you go. your camber adjustments like this, right? Right? Okay, adjustment rod. All you do is loosen the lock nuts that lock this, and you just rotate this. Take a wrench and you just turn it one way or the other. It'll move the camber either negative or positive, wherever you want it.
Another question.
Most alignment adjustments are very easy to do. Yeah.
Why would you bend the strut assembly?
Why would you bend it?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know. Why would you?
Because it says most vehicle manufacturers.
Sure, tell me
warn
where you're at.
technicians,
Give me a page.
of 1552, under front camber caster adjustment methods.
Front camera caster, okay.
It says most vehicle manufacturers warn technicians not to adjust camber by bending the strut assembly. Why would you bend the strut? Is that old school technique?
Oh, by bending the strut.
Like, why
I
would
think
Maybe they
I
put that
know
in there
why.
because people were trying to do that.
I know exactly.
I don't
why.
know.
That's what people do when they want to get cheap camber.
Yeah,
They don't want to go to a alignment shop to get it.
yeah,
They
that's
wanna
probably,
go
you're probably
cheaper.
right,
They
yeah.
bend the strut so they don't have to actually
Right.
break anything. Over time, that'll just slowly wear it down and then end up cracking on its own from that bend.
Yeah, like that's messing up.
Yeah.
If
So-
you, if you look at this
I
picture,
guess the best way I can explain it.
if you look at this picture here, see how it's got adjustments forward, backward?
Yeah.
So you could loosen these nuts on the strut and move it one way or the other for that camera adjustment. But, if it's one of those people that likes to extreme the things and get the tire really ridiculous, and there's no, the adjustment won't let you go that far, they would try to bend the strut to make it go farther.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of people that, like to go drifting, they'll go buy really cheap beat up cars, do minor cheap modifications to it to make it a little faster, welded diffs, stuff like that. And then they'll, do this. So it's a cheap build because if you're going out to just drift to have fun on a bullshit car, they don't care what breaks on the car because it's meant to be crashed, broken, scratched up. It's not something that they're taking out to show off and like, oh, my car is the best. It's like I can drift better than you. That's why I have this bullshit car. That's this type of people.
Okay.
Sometimes you can buy little aftermarket components to change it, like this little wedge right here.
Yeah.
You could loosen these bolts here and you could put that wedge in here and it'll change the angle of your camber, okay? So, we've looked at this before. So I'm gonna ask you a question about this picture just to see if anybody remembers this. How many ball joints does this vehicle have right here?
On that side,
How many ball joints does it have?
It's like
1, 2. I see 2. I see 2, 3. No, that's the low control arm. 1, 2. I only
It
see
just
2.
has one, it's a lower control arm.
Good job.
Five.
It's only got one. It's got one on each side, but in that picture, it's only got one.
Yeah.
It's right here.
Yeah.
And it's the load bearing ball joint, right? Because look where the spring is, it's pushing on the lower control arm, right?
Yeah.
This ball joint is bearing the load of this spring trying to hold sharp, right? Your strut is the top ball joint, your top pivot point. It only has one. If this was an SLA suspension, meaning it'd have a control arm up here, it would have a ball joint here too.
Then it would have 3. Then it would have 3.
Then it would have four, two
4.
on each side.
4. It would have 4.
Yeah, yeah.
But
But
right
there's,
now it only has 2.
yeah, there's only one right here,
Right, one.
okay?
So this is modifying suspension?
McPherson strut. Oh, I take that back. That is a modified strut because a McPherson strut would have the spring here, right? The spring's been relocated, so yeah, it's a modified strut. Yeah. See, good. What is this?
Aftermarket shim.
brake drum,
Drop brake jump.
isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Well, there's no brake drum here, but this is a rear brake shoe assembly. Okay? The drum isn't shown in the picture. This is your hub and bearing for your axle, where your wheel goes, right? Your wheel bearings in here, that just bolts right to the axle housing. So, this is not a solid rear axle, okay? But it's not an independent rear suspension either. So, if this, your toe or your camber is off on something like this, you can pull this assembly off of here and put a shim right here, which changes the angle of this where your wheel goes, which means it could adjust toe or camber. Because this is like thicker on one side than it is on the other, and you just put this whichever way you needed the tire to move.
Okay, can you repeat that, please? Like, I'm serious. Like, I was just, like, I got about halfway.
Okay. Okay. Let's say, we're gonna pretend like this is the hub and bearing, even though it's just a bearing, right?
Right.
This is where your wheel bolts up to, right?
Yeah, got that.
Okay, this bolts to the axle housing.
Yeah.
There's no adjustment on this because this is not an independent rear suspension.
Right, okay.
It's just got the bar, right?
Mhm.
They're not, it's not IRS,
Mhm.
okay? So, if you need to change the angle of this wheel because the alignment's off, you could take this off, put a shim in here that's thicker on one side than it is on the other. Let's say it needed to go, let's say you needed some positive camber,
Mhm.
okay? You wanted to kick the wheel out this way a little bit.
Mhm.
You could put the thick side of this shim up here, bolt this back together, and now this is turned this way a little bit.
Oh, okay,
And
gotcha.
it changes the
Gotcha.
angle of the wheel.
I got,
Okay.
just by inserting a shim?
Yeah,
Okay. And it'll stay there, once you bolt it all back?
oh yeah, it can't go anywhere, because this is all bolted together.
Okay.
So this isn't just a, let's say like a gasket where it's the same all the way around. One side's thicker than the other. So you can rotate it to make this turn whichever way you want it to do. So like I said, if you needed some more, say, positive camber, you would put the thick side on the top and it would turn the wheel out that way and it would positive camber a little bit. Okay, because there's no adjustment. The only way you can make an adjustment is like that.
Okay.
If it was an
gotcha.
independent rear suspension, which that isn't, it would have its own adjustments for each side.
Okay.
How you doing back there, Terrence?
Good.
Doesn't look like it. What's wrong?
Only way to make adjustment, okay.
What can we do to help you out here?
I already took medicine. I'm good.
You're what?
I already took medicine. I'm good.
Oh, you're not feeling good?
No, it was just my mouth. It just hurt. Yeah, pain in my mouth.
Okay, I just want to make sure you're getting this.
Everybody in pain today, shit.
So, that is, you said it's for, what type of vehicle?
Front wheel drive,
Mm-hmm.
non-independent suspension.
Non-independent.
Okay, so it's basically got a straight bar that runs across the back, the wheels bolt to that. It's not independent. It's basically a straight axle rear suspension.
Okay, thank you.
Most vehicle manufacturers will provide an adjustment for rear toe if it has independent rear suspension. If it doesn't, you're gonna have to do it the way I just showed you. Okay, and if it's a solid rear axle on a rear wheel drive, there is nothing you can do about it. And by solid rear axle, I mean, has a rear differential, it's rear wheel drive, no independent suspension, there's nothing you can do with that. Okay, you can't even do something like that, because you can't bend the angle because it has axles.
Right.
Those don't have axles, it's just got a hub and bearing with wheel sets, so you can change that. There's no adjustment on it, but you would have to shim it.
And the rear wheel drive only gets the, front end, alignment, and that's it.
If it's
That's
got a
all it can
live
do.
rear axle, and it's a straight axle, solid axle, there's nothing you can do about it.
Okay.
There's no adjustments available. The only thing you can do is make sure the thrust line is correct, meaning that the housing hasn't shifted on the springs.
Okay.
Rear toe is often adjusted using a tie rod or eccentric cam on the lower control arm. most solid rear axles do not have a method for rear toe except for aftermarket shims, which I told you a minute ago.
Where is this? Where is this?
Rear toe is usually set on this vehicle by adjusting the nuts. Usually get to adjusting rear toe is not easy on this vehicle.
Oh, it's right here.
Oh yeah, it's a 1550.
Now, you know what? I've seen alignments done so many times, and they've only did the toe.
Only did what?
They only adjusted the toe.
A lot of times that's all you have to do.
Oh, okay.
There was an old saying back in the day, because people used to love to do alignments on cars because they paid pretty good and only take them a second. They'd say, all you gotta do is set the toe and collect the dough.
Mm.
Sometimes that's all you have to do, okay? Don't tell anybody I said that.
Did you used to do that?
No,
It's the past now, you can say it. Now it's the future.
He's not gonna improve
no,
his.
I'm not saying anything wrong, but sometimes that's all it needs. So you do a quick toe adjustment and it's good to go. That's all I'm saying that. Those are the quick and easy alignments, because just need a little toe adjustment. You get paid the same as if you adjusted all four corners.
You're gonna make me wanna learn how to do my own alignments. So I gotta worry about somebody else doing it.
All right. The passenger metal shims we talked about before. We saw that in that picture already.
It does say that too, set the toe and let it go.
Yeah.
Do the toe and go, set the toe and collect the dough, it says it.
Where is that?
Does it really?
On page 1552.
Oh, man, I never saw
Setting the
that.
toe. It says it. It says it.
They actually put that in the book, huh?
They did.
Oh, they did, huh?
Where's
Oh,
that at?
wow, that's hilarious.
Where's that at?
Right here, setting toe.
Set the toe, let it go. Do a toe and go. Set the toe and collect the dough. That's crazy.
Wow, people knew.
Oh, I never did see that in the book before. Well, I told you it was true.
I think you wrote this book, you just forgot your initials.
Yeah, I just forgot to put my name on it, yeah. Okay. If the camera is adjusted at the base of the strut, the camera included angle are changed and the SAI remains the same. Camera is adjusted by moving the upper strut mount location. Included angle remains the same, the SAI and camber will change. This is an adjusting tool for one of those. This actually forces the strut into a different position. It's a little clamp locking tool. You just adjust that little bolt there. It just kind of pushes it one way or the other. Once you get the desired angle, you can tighten the nuts and take the tool off of it. You loosen those two strut bolts there to adjust the camber. Some of them are adjustable from the top because they have elongated holes here. So you can loosen these nuts here on the strut and then just move it one way or the other. Tighten them back up. Pretty simple. Many vehicles are constructed with only a limited caster camber factory adjustments. Adjustment methods may include shim, slot, cam, nut, something. Anything like that. Okay. Let's see, what do we got here? Example of many methods that are commonly used to adjust front caster and camber. Oh, they're just showing you different types of suspension systems. I can't read that, it's pretty small. Hopefully that's bigger in the book. Yeah, it is. Some of the older cars with the SLA suspension, though, they used shims that you could put in the upper control arm to move the control arm for camber and tow, not tow, but caster camber. Some will have an adjuster rod like that, which makes it pretty easy, can be adjusted to change the caster. Obviously, looking at that from the top down. Okay, this is what I was talking about with the shims. This is an upper control arm on a short, long arm suspension. In order to adjust it, all you would have to do was loosen these two nuts, these are shims, okay? And remove or add shims to this, which would change the angle of the control arm. Okay? So, let's see. So I need to subtract to increase the box caster, add to increase. Let's see. Okay, this is a better idea of how it's working. Okay? So you just loosen those nuts, move the control arm a little bit, change the shim, and you can see how it changes the angle of the control arm.
Can you? What type of vehicle is that on now? Like, what type of
Short,
vehicle?
long arm suspension. SLA. That's the upper control arm. Older car. You won't even see that anymore. My car uses that type, my old, but it's 50 years old, which you already know. However, mine has a short, long arm suspension system, and this is how you do the alignment in the front. For the caster hip. Toe is just a sleeve for the, yeah.
Very off subject, but I remember you just reminded me of something when you started talking about your other car. So this was like when we first joined the class. So you might not remember, but I told you I had an uncle who went to prison and he had a Thunderbird, and it got repoed.
I think so.
He just got out a couple weeks ago, and I thought it got repoed, but it was at my aunt's house.
Really?
Yeah, so next time I go over there and I see the car, I'm gonna take a picture and show you, because I don't know what year it is.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. Okay. Anyway, this is what's going on here with these shims. Okay? Where are we at? Caster, camber. Camber adjustments is just going to bring this way. Caster adjustments, you're going to have unequal shims here. It's going to push it this way or this way instead of in or out, okay? So those shims will adjust both of those on that type of suspension. General rule is that an 1/8 inch shim added or removed on both sides, change the camber angle by 1/2 degree. And when they still use the SLA type suspension, they got rid of the shims. They made it a little bit easier. These, you just had to loosen those nuts and you could just move the control arm with an adjusting tool. And they went to an eccentric cam on some of the later ones before they got rid of it. That was pretty popular. That made it pretty easy. All you had to do is just rotate those eccentric cams and it would move the control arm one way or the other. If the strut has an elongated hole in the bottom, you can do a camber adjustment that way by just moving it one way or the other.
They have alignment kits? You can do your own alignment?
Yep. That's what I was doing.
Let me see, what are
They're
you?
old school ones, where they have like their dials and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
You mean, could you buy a little plate to drive the car on, and,
Really?
yeah, I mean, I don't recommend it because, you know, like I said, it'll get you close, but it's not gonna put you where you wanna be. It's not gonna give you best tire wear, best handling and all that. Okay, what do we got? Okay, this is your, tow unit conversions. Fraction, decimal, millimeters, degrees. In order to do a tow setting, steering wheel has to be straight ahead and locked in that position. If you do not do that, you'll be chasing your tail all day long trying to get the tow adjustment right. It just won't happen. I know, because I've done that. To lock the steering wheel, always use the wheel lock pressed against the seat, the outer end of the steering wheel, which comes on the alignment rack. Centerline steering is centered steering wheel. Traveling in a straight course. Looks like that. Not a bad idea to put plastic on the seats and keep from getting dirty if that thing happens to be dirty. Adjusting the tow by rotating a tie rod equipped with a track and pinion chain. This is what you're gonna see the most of. This is the easiest way to do it. All you do is loosen this nut, take a wrench, rotate this shaft, it will adjust the tow. You just watch the machine, get it in the green, set the tow, let it go, that kind of thing, right?
Get the dough.
Okay. On the old school parallelogram type steering, it's got those sleeves on it. That's a special tool for it. All you do is just rotate these sleeves and moves this in or out. Does the same thing as the loosening the nut, lock nut, and then rotating the thing on the rack and pinion thing. This is a special adjuster tool if you were to use one of those. Most people choose vice grips on it because they don't want to use that tool or they don't want to buy it. But that does make it a lot easier.
Do you think that's true, Ron? That many accidents result in hidden structural damage that cause the alignment angles to be out of spec? Because I think it's just bad driving.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't agree with everything in the book, but I didn't write it either. Even though
They just
some
say
people
that's
think I
make
did.
people feel better about themselves.
All right. Centering the steering wheel. Centerline steering should be accomplished by adjusting the tie rod length on both ends while the toe is set. Tolerance adjustment, what is that? Many vehicles are designed and built without a method to change capacitor, camber, or both. All vehicles will have an adjustment for tow, which we talked about. Before installing an aftermarket alignment kit, first try to do it, okay. They're telling you don't buy an aftermarket alignment kit unless you try to do it the right way first, or for some reason it just won't adjust properly. That's just aftermarket alignment kits. This one is for a strut tower. It'll give you adjustment that's more than possible from the factory adjustment. Lining electronic suspension vehicles. Really, all you have to worry about with that is the steering angle sensor probably gonna have to be recalibrated when you're done with it. Aligning modified vehicles, meaning the suspension has been changed, raised, lowered, something like that. Sometimes that is messed up, your SAI, mess up the steering, linkage control arm no longer parallel, bump steer can occur. Camber and toe also get changed when you do that, so. Tire temperature diagnosis, not to worry about that. You know, the tire pressure goes up as the tire gets hot, so not enough to really matter for this purposes. Just like you said, many accidents result in hidden structural damage that can cause alignment angles to be out of specifications. I don't know about all that. Frame and body diagnosis. Diagonal measurements are done on frame machine in the body shop. That's what they're getting at here. Frame diagonals. That's nothing you'll have to worry about unless you work in the body shop. Resetting the spinning angle sensor. It's just done with the scan tool. So I was talking about different types of steering angle sensors, digital and analog. Don't care about that. We saw that already.
You too.
Central monitors, driver's input from straight ahead. Okay. This is gonna go through an alignment procedure, which we're not gonna worry about. If we're gonna look at that, I'd rather just play a video. So we'll get more out of the video than you would off of those slides, so.
We made it.
Last chapter.
That was terrible.
Just in time for her to disappear. It's not getting out of this, but. I think the guys in the back row should move up because maybe you feel better if you want to sit in the back.
I'll trade spots.
You know that incident you said you had with your park, your what's it called, your shifter
Uh-huh.
or your car? If
Yeah.
that happened to you in like a store or anything in the parking lot, would you fix it then and there, or would you get it towed?
I would have been mad. Depending on where I was, I probably would have to have it towed to the house, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't happy about it at all, but, I mean, if your car's gonna break, the best place for it to break is in front of your house or your garage, right? Yeah. All right, time for everybody to wake up. Sorry I'm boring you to death, but you know,
You want me to start or you want?
oh yeah, you just take it by the horns, dude.
Alright, sir. Technician A says to inflate the tires to manufacturer specifications before performing a wheel alignment. Technician B says to thoroughly inspect the steering and suspension components before performing a wheel alignment. Which technician is correct? Both?
Why would you not do both, of course? Okay,
Structural damage may be discovered by measuring frame diagonal.
frame diagonals, yes. But again, that's done on a frame machine and body shop, it's not something you typically have to worry about. If it looks like there's structural damage and, you know, not be able to do alignment, you just tell them, can't do it.
A vehicle ride height should be checked and corrected before performing a wheel alignment. True?
Yeah, sure is.
Technician A says a vehicle with a modified suspension may be aftermarket kit to be after the specification alignment setting. Technician B says the radar may have
They have to be recalibrated.
recalibrated if new vehicle equipment with a electric suspension push technician. I said both of them.
B?
Both of them is right.
Well, do we need a kit to set that kind of alignment? What technician A said?
Is technician A right?
He says if the suspension has been modified
Oh, okay.
and you can't get the alignment specification of what it's supposed to be, they make aftermarket kits to allow you extra adjustment. Yeah, yeah, they're both right.
If none machines are used for alignment adjustment in front, they adjust.
You skip?
We're on
You can
5.
take that one.
We're on 5, right?
Yeah.
5, yeah.
I'm reading by.
I thought he was supposed to have 5. I'm so confused. Wait, did you read?
I read 4.
Yeah.
He read 3? Oh shit, I'm wrong. My fault, yo.
No, we're good, we're Terrence, he's 5.
D,
Both A and B?
yeah.
Yeah, shims will adjust caster and camber, yeah, but not toe. Okay,
After the vehicle is set up on the alignment rack, perform, angle measurement, A, check my caster.
There's a caster sweep.
Caster sweep.
That's just
C, my friend, the machine's gonna have you do a caster sweep as soon as you get it all set up. Okay? That's basically just turning the wheel all the way one way and then all the way the other way and then back straight. Okay? C.
Technician A says that alignment sensor calibration is needed to compensate for bent wheels. Technician B says that the sensor calibration is needed to compensate for uneven installation on the sensor wheel. Which technician is correct? Is it both?
It sure is. Sure is.
A 4-wheel alignment allows the thrust line to be adjusted to
That
0.
is correct, yeah. Four-wheel line allows the thrust line to be adjusted to 0.
Which component is usually used to set a rail combat in many vehicles? Is it D, A and D?
Yep, sure is. All right, one more.
Which alignment process may be done using self-calibration? I put D, steering wheel.
Yep, that is correct. There's no such thing as a self-calibration for caster, camber, or toe. Steering angle sensor.
What do you get?
All right,
I just got one wrong.
good.
How did everyone do? I feel like I don't think anybody answered wrong on this. Did they?
Everybody do good on that one?
Just got 2.
Nice.
I don't know.
How about Terrence? How'd you do?
Good.
Yeah? As in?
As in 2.
2?
On the,
How about the man with the hurting head? Missed 2?
I've been doing good on the alignment, I'm just been getting 2.
Yeah, I missed 2.
Good.
I'm 5 and 6.
5 and 6 you missed?
Sure.
let's see, 5.
More.
I just
Oh.
put it. I mean, fine.
I just hate the electrical stuff.
Yeah. The electrical, what's it called, suspension and shit.
Yeah.
That's so confusing. Those steering columns. Anytime a suspension component is replaced or adjusted, wheel alignment should be checked. True.
Common sense question, right? Vehicle ride height should be checked and corrected before putting alignment, of
True.
course. Okay, let's go for 3.
Technician B says that dragging brakes on one side of the vehicle will cause a blow. Technically, they're both right, but dragging brakes, like you said, are less common, or not as common.
Technically, you're right, they are both right. And the reason is because you have to spin the wheel to do the rolling compensate sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, that feels like a brake drag. Probably not gonna happen, but yeah, they are both right. And of course, if brakes are dragging on one side of the car, it'll cause it to pull. Okay. Let's see about 4. How do you do with that one?
I'm confused on.
A's not really specific.
Yeah, it's not specific at all. It just says when wear occurs.
Oh, okay, well, we'll clarify that for you.
Is it C?
I'm sorry,
I
C?
think B.
is it C? It is C.
So then,
Okay.
like
Okay,
specific
let
where.
me explain something to you here. This is a car,
Yeah.
okay? Wear occurs.
Yeah.
The car starts to sag a little bit, right? Springs are
Okay.
getting tired and whatever. What happens when that happens?
It starts to
Camber
go up.
becomes negative. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what
Okay,
they're
so
talking
that's
about.
all I was asking. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just was confused on what wear, because
Yep.
there's a lot of things that can wear. So then, yeah, more
Yeah,
technicians.
Inner is positive, right?
What?
Positive, negative.
Oh, on toe?
45.
Yeah, toe in is positive, toe out is negative, yeah.
And then this is.
Camber,
positive.
this is negative, this is positive. Okay, it's actually opposite of toe. Yeah.
A.
Let's see. Where were we?
Which degree is the large, or which angle is the largest? A.
There's minutes.
Who's
you
got a
said
good
minutes.
answer to this one?
A. D is half a degree. A is 0.55 of a degree. That's still half plus 5.
What's up with the minutes?
I think that's just put there to throw you off.
No, there's
No, actually,
minutes
it's
in the book.
not.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a
It's
measurement of
45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes, 45 minutes is the largest. Okay.
It's like
If you look at
saying, oh,
1553, there's a little toe unit conversion chart in there. It says degrees and minutes.
And that little square down here.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even see that one. If that came up on the test, I would have just ignored it. Where's that at? Oh, degrees and minutes.
So think of it like as the minutes on the clock, right?
Yeah.
It'd be 15 minutes would be a quarter,
So
30 minutes would be a
that's
half.
3/4 then.
Right.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, 45 minutes.
Okay.
Strut rods, if they are adjustable, can be adjusted to which angle?
Toot.
Caster?
Yes. Caster. Okay. If you have a strut rod, remember lower control arm?
Yeah, that moves back and forth for
Yeah,
caster.
caster. Yeah. Okay.
If the ASC was only on this, I'd be so confident.
That would be nice, right?
Technician A says that toot is the last adjustment made in a four-wheel alignment. Technician B says that toot is a diagnostic angle that is not adjusted in a typical alignment. Which technician is correct? A?
Say,
B.
B. I told you it was B.
B only.
Cross camber
I
and
tell
cross.
you guys to pay close attention to these because, as you well know, there is no question on these Wednesday tests that you're graded on. It's where your class grade's gonna come from to determine whether you pass or fail. There's nothing on those that's not on one of these quizzes. So if you're looking at these and paying attention, and I give them to you printed out, There's no reason for anybody to get less than 70% on one of those quizzes. No reason at all.
Is this version?
You've seen every single question before. If you're not getting a good grade, you're not paying attention. There's nothing on there you haven't seen before, okay?
What am I gonna ask? Oh, fucking.
Is this one on it too, right?
All of them.
Yeah, in fact, the test tomorrow, a lot of these questions are exact copies of them.
Didn't you say
If
there
you're
was
paying
like,
attention, you cannot fail.
didn't you
okay.
say there was like 63 questions? 60 something.
For tomorrow?
Paper.
I don't think I have tomorrow's in front of me, but I'll go look at it.
Cross
Okay.
camber. Oh.
Oh, where are we? Here we are.
Cross camber and cross caster should be within half a degree from one side to the other.
True,
Cross cameras be within a half degree, yes.
I guess.
I had to get it.
We did this one. If metal shims are used for alignment, they adjust caster and camber. Not capable of doing toe.
Technician A says the front toe determines the thrust angle. Technician B says that a tolerance adjustment involves removing and reinstalling subframe bolts. Which
I'm
technician
gonna tell you right now, this question is gonna be on the test.
is that? A tolerance?
Does the front toe determine thrust angle?
Yeah, no.
No, it's rear. Thrust angle, rear.
From the back, yeah.
Put those two together in your head. Would you remove and reinstall the subframe bolts? This throws everybody off. You just loosen them. You don't remove them. They're both wrong. Okay?
Neither. I knew it. Who needed that to help me?
Okay.
So how can we get those two? Cause those is gonna be on this, those, that paper will be next to that because those questions are not on these ones.
They could be at the back quiz.
I know, but they're probably in the book.
Two.
I don't print out all of these for you, but again, if you're paying attention, there's no reason to fail.
Take pictures.
You can do that too. You can just get your phone and go, okay, I'm gonna take pictures of these second quiz questions. But a lot of these are repeats too, so some of them, and there's only like 3 new questions on them.
That's true.
But again, if you're paying attention and you're trying, you're not gonna have any problem.
Can we do the quiz?
But that question is on the book too.
Yep. Okay, let's do the questions in the book.
That was close.
And, probably get you out of here pretty quick. Tomorrow, we're gonna go over all of this stuff. Your testing.
Okay.
Use your time wisely, okay? All right. Okay, number 1, page 1564.
Excessive load in trunk. D.
Number of turns with the steering wheel lock to lock. No, you need that, right? Is it D, dog?
It is not.
No.
So it's gotta be
Why?
C.
Because if the guy's got a ton of bricks in the trunk of his car, what's gonna happen? You can't align it with the ass end sagging. Who cares how many turns the steering wheel is locked to lock?
So it's D.
Okay?
C.
No, it's C.
Oh.
For number one.
For number 1, it's C, yes. Nobody cares how many turns the steering wheel is locked to lock.
Technician A says that if a pull occurs sometimes to the left and sometimes to the right, this is called memory steer. Technician B says that if a vehicle pulls one side only during acceleration, this is called torque steer. Which technician is correct? They're both correct.
They are both correct.
Which angle is the largest? 45 minutes.
45 minutes. Tell you right now, that question's gonna be on the test.
Got you.
Don't miss it.
The vehicle above will blank.
Look at the chart. It's gonna ask you what that vehicle is going to do.
Negative one camber, that's bad.
Yep.
That negative 0.10, that's fine,
Is
right?
it C?
It is not corn dog.
Why is max there?
Balloon.
There's minimum, preferred, and max.
Is it
Caster, camber.
Okay, first you're gonna have to figure out what's off.
Caster's off for their left side.
Left caster is off.
And the
Camber for the
right.
left side.
What?
It's all off.
Toes off too, right?
Everything's off. So pull toward the right and feather edge both times.
Yep, that's what it'll do.
Okay.
4 is A.
After the vehicle is set up on the alignment rack, performing.
See,
C is correct.
Yep.
4-wheel alignment allows what to be adjusted to 0?
first one.
The thrust line, yes.
Technician A says it's
We did 7.
We did 7, they're both wrong.
Gotcha.
Which alignment procedure must be done using self-calibration as a
Steering.
steering angle sensor? Yep. Vehicle modified suspension. I think we did that one too, yeah. Both of them? Yep.
Yeah.
Structural damage, frame diagonals.
Yeah.
Again, that's done on a frame machine, not on alignment rack, okay? Body shop stuff.
ASC only on alignment, and I'm golden.
All right.
I don't know why, but I felt good reading that chart. Being able to understand and read that chart made me feel good.
All right. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a good day.
You too, young man.
Ah, shit. I forgot to change the date today, didn't I?
For that now. Tomorrow.
Let's see, everybody get it right? Oh, you didn't put the date on. Everybody got 16, right?
What's that?
16, 16.
I mean, that'd be kind of crazy for everyone to rely on that.
Yeah, it would. I know, I put that there just because.
On that last test we got, this one, the